Hey gang, welcome back. It is I, DrBossKey, and today we are going to take a look at the latest revision of our level 3 Cerivus Undermountain tile set and art replacement. So we've been cracking on this for a while, and it's really starting to come together. I'm very excited. So without further ado, let me jump over. Let's push the red button. Which button is it? This one. Yeah. Hello, buttons. All right. Let me plug in my controller too. One controller, plug it in. Dimitri, thank you very much. I'm gonna have a little bit of art feedback for you as well, but I also thought you would like to see how everything has come together. All right. And we'll cover that in just a bit. Okay. Whoa. Yeah. Okay, well, we got some issues right off the bat. Like, for instance, this pillar is floating in the screen. Okay, let's see here. Let's see, we'll change this guy here to like F5. Yeah, okay, cool. Just mirror that for the time being. Turn off our 3D object snapping so I can adjust that a little bit more. Yeah, that'll work. I really like the way geometry is being shaped. Okay, cool. So yeah, so we have this a little bit more of an intro to show the top and bottom, which is cool. I'm just articulating the screen like you guys can see it. And we got our top and our bottom tiles here. We went way less aggressive with shadows and shadowing, so to try to get people, boy, I'm looking at the art and not paying attention to the game, to distinguish on what you can collide with and can't collide with. So that was a pretty big learning for us. So we're still working on it, but I think that this version, I can't wait to play test it with folks, is going to hopefully make it a lot easier to see the things that you shouldn't be running into. So mostly the level geometry. Yeah. So we've come a long way. I'm still looking at some of the ordering for some of the additional rocks, of course. Dude, get up here. I adjusted all the collision. Still, for instance, this little area here, it's, you know, I'm not gonna stress too much that it's a bit of a floating rock, but you know, like we might change it. Yeah. Forgot we updated our weapons yesterday in terms of visual style. Decided to fill in the top and bottom area a little bit more there. A little different on both sides. Try not to be too uniform about the whole thing, but just you know, a little bit of visual interest. With shmups, people aren't paying attention to the backgrounds very often anyways. But you have to always keep in mind when you're building a game, you're also building it for the people that are watching, right? And this has always been a tenet, but you know, I think that especially in some of the really great shmups, some of the designs. Oh hey, look, I got a problem. Not sure what that is. Interesting. A collision issue, I think, with that lantern. And we got these guys down underneath, so that's a good example of like how we made some changes. Oh, I missed those guys. What's that? Maybe because it has collision? Okay, I gotta come back and check that. That's why we play test and take a look at things. I really like, so one of the things that we did in this version is we went with some really wide backgrounds. We can see the scaling on that hand altar a little bit more there. Might have to tweak that a little bit. That way there's more visual interest with the parallaxing backgrounds in the background. I'm gonna say background one more time. A little more dangerous when you're, took some damage there. When you're shooting, oh hey, I got a bug there with the hookup of the visual indicator. Oh, and I died. And I died. Yeah, I'm sightseeing. All right. I really like the way that the middle rocks turned out here. Oh, I got a little bit of Z sorting issues with the way that shows up. I think there's something going on with the engine too in terms of rendering there, but I need to track the bug down specifically. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Oh man, I got crusted again sightseeing. But that's why we're playtesting, checking things out. So yeah, I think the contrast with these middle rocks, way better in terms of seeing edges. Other little pro tip, of course, or not of course, but for folks, is you know, when you're doing your collision, don't do your collision precise, because you need to, you know, let the player be a little more forgiving. Because, you know, otherwise they're going to die even easier. And these are constrained spaces, so it's definitely harder to deal with, because you're, you know, dealing with the enemies and you're also watching the background, right? Yeah, so I really like the way the columns turned out. I still want to add some, we're going to do some spiciness. I'm going to add some waterfall effects, I think, which are going to be nice to kind of break it up a little bit, which I'm pretty excited about. Okay, these are easy to deal with in this case. Yeah, because you have the pass through on that. That's nice. Yeah, so I like the way some of these things turned out. Also, not having to be, you'll see here, Dimitri, with the background that, oh crap, it took damage. That, so I just took a giant pillar version, darkened it down to fit the background as well. So I like the suggestive art style, or the darkening of the art style to get in the background. But also, I remove the top and bottom tiles here. You can see one tile kind of connecting it on the bottom left corner here. But yeah, I really like the way it all turned out. So, okay, so let's pop over. A couple bits of feedback for you, Dimitri. Thank you very much. I'm so super excited. Let's see. Okay. Hello. What happened? What happened? I think it's because it's full screen. Turn that off. Go. Okay, mental note to self. Got to check a few of those bits. I'll playtest again and check. But that's not what we're here to talk about. All right. So, a couple things for you, Dimitri. One is out of these. Oh, maybe I should flip back over. Okay. So, just for the folks that are watching here. So, so one of the things that we wound up doing for this type of level design is I wound up turning on grid snapping and 3D object snapping in this case. And then we have each of these tiles, as you can see here. You can see when we're talking about collision, for instance, right? So the collision here, what you can see is the bits here. It's lower in the actual object, so then players can actually fly a lot closer to it than they expect without getting destroyed. So what we did is we basically have these tiles, and it's very easy in Shmup Creator to essentially have your tiles snap. Helps you with just kind of laying out your level design bits. So we have the top area. We have this center area for doing rows. Oh, maybe I'll replace that center area with that. Now that I think about it. One second. See, that's right here. Perfect. All right. Yeah. Maybe right there. That might be cooler. Maybe we can mix them. Yeah, because I like the corner tiles that we have here, Dimitri. So I don't know. Let's see. Maybe let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. All right. Come on. Go. God, did it again. All right. So when you have your tile snapping, you can do half tiles if you want as well, but it definitely helps for just kind of keeping yourself organized and making sure that you don't have to fix as many art issues because everything snaps together nicely. So it's really nice and fun that we were doing these tiles. And now, because we're going to do 2 more challenge levels, it gives me as the designer, because art is expensive and hard for me, it gives me the ability to have more configurations. So, and I'll give you a little bit of feedback here at the end, Dimitri, for that. Sorry, we took a little detour here while I just had it fresh in my mind. So let's make that bigger. because all I'm doing here is I'm setting the rendering order because I want the rock to look like it's sitting on the shelf. We got these nice little end caps here, and I didn't quite like the way that was setting out. So that's much better. And yeah, I'm not going to stress the fact that it's not connected. I mean, technically I could take another one of these, put it in the background. But one of the things we've learned is when you have shadowing, you know, and this is also contrast with the level, people feel like they can fly into the shadow areas and then they get destroyed because it's geometry and that's El Dado. Okay, cool. Now that we did that, okay. So Dimitri, a couple things. So one is here with our 9 slice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's for the folks watching. This is how all the pieces snap together so we can repeat them. So let's do one more top cap here. So that way I can do a version that isn't necessarily standing on. This doesn't quite fit with the slice here. I keep it because I think we can use it, but let's do one more tile that tiles nicely here, but also basically is very similar to kind of like the bottom tiling area here. Also, the other piece of feedback here, Dimitri, is that we might need to try adding a more contrasty color. It doesn't have to be green in this case, but here in this particular tile set, this is a really fantastic tile set. The only one that I found that this person did, but I really, really liked it. They added this kind of moss texturing. So, and then that way, again, from a gameplay perspective and aesthetics, but gameplay wise, players can see that contrast and it'll be easier to avoid. So let's see if we can try to do like a moss, kind of like this, maybe as for inspiration, or some spikes, but I think we need to do a different contrasty color. Maybe we take some of the for the pardon me, it's the afternoon. Let's see here. So maybe we can take some cues from the way we did the that kind of the fungal spore-like bits. We could maybe put those laid into the rocks around because those would fit nicely around the edges, and that might help as well. So again, I think we're doing pretty well. The contrast is way better. I think it's much easier to see stuff, but then again, I don't know because I haven't play tested, so I've you know, like I won't know until I see people play with the new geometry to see what happens. But I think there for these inner areas, it'll be super helpful for when I pull together these different patterns for inner geometry that players will be able to better see those. Okay. Other than that, I think those are the 2 main pieces of feedback. Yeah, okay. I hope you enjoyed it. For the folks out there watching, thank you so much for following along. This is super exciting, pretty much a fantastic milestone. We flipped the way that we did things because as a designer, I prototyped a lot of the gameplay stuff first. So now we're really settling into doing the environments and getting the environments first before we come through and then start replacing the placeholder enemies. So good example of a placeholder enemy. Definitely placeholder, right? But you know, we're getting there. So, all right. I think that's it. Okay. Thanks everybody. Talk to you soon.